Dr. Mao, for me, he has been a lifesaver. And I know for many of his patients as well. Why do I say this? This is a precious moment for me. In 2008, some of you may know, I had an allergic reaction. I don't know to what it was. That my body went into an inflammatory reaction, that every joint was in pain. I had rashes all over my body. We couldn't understand why. Could have been stress, dental stress. But again, to the degree that even at hospitals and allergy doctors, nobody could help me. They all were giving me just antihistamine medication, sleep medication because I couldn't sleep at nights. And my wife did her homework and found Dr. Mao. I went to meet with him, with her, with reservation. And I came out 2 months later, like detoxed, clean. He changed my diet. He changed my lifestyle. He gave me herbal medicine that initially I was wondering, but I can tell you, boost up my immune system. Sorry, I'm giving you an intro that way because you have a bio that we shared with everybody, but this is essential as a friend and client that I turned out to be. And as I've been to his office so many times, so many of his patients I've talked to have shared the same story. He is one that understands, to some levels, you may say holistic medicine, natural medicine and natural way of lifestyle and diet. But at the same time, it's one that also understands medicine in general. So he knows when to draw the line and when to say it's time to go see a medical doctor. He works with cancer patients as well to help them boost up the immune system. So he's an incredible individual, and he has given me the pleasure to join us tonight and to give us a good about 20 minutes short. We decided that would be precious to share with you. He is a short, share his knowledge and his passion, as well as a message for us. Why? Because we are looking ahead now. 1 year past COVID, many of us have had changes in lifestyle, but it's nice to start changing it in a right direction. And that he's going to give us some of his words of wisdom. Dr. Mao, are you ready?
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Alfred. That's very generous of you to the introduction. Am I coming through clearly? I'm just curious.
You do. Go ahead, Peggy.
No, you're good, Dr. Mao.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I just want to make sure. Yeah, okay. So,
what's the fuck?
I was actually going to, share some slides, but I'm thinking, I don't know if it's appropriate. I could still share a few slides if you, let's see.
Please go ahead, yes.
Yeah, we can do that if you want. Let me see if I can share that.
I shouldn't be drinking beer in front of Dr. Mao. That's not on the list of nutrition he recommends.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Cheap day today.
Right. Okay, so I mean, there's a lot that I can talk about, but I think because of the time, I had a conflict tonight. I'm actually doing a virtual reality health event at the same time, so I pulled away for half an hour, and so that I can kind of give you my little just perspective from my angle, right? So Wellness 2.0, it's sort of like, okay, a lot of people were on their wellness journey, and then a year of completely going off the program. I know many of my patients have gained this COVID belly. 20 pounds is the average weight gain for most people in 2020. And they've fallen off their wagon, they've eaten poorly, and there's just so much that's happened, right?
Oh, sorry guys, it's just a moment, he got muted.
Yeah, here, I'm good.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Yeah. so I just thought I just kind of share quickly, what my perspective on just from my, what I've seen, right? And so first and foremost, some people might actually know me as Dr. Wow because I was my character was on the show Sex and the City, season 6, episode 11, when Charlotte gets acupuncture from Dr. Mao for infertility. But anyway, that's just kind of a fun little thing that patients know me by. And that's it. That's the end of my story. That's my 15 minutes of fame. But let me just kind of move on here. COVID-19, it's been extremely challenging. 1 year later, 30 million Americans got infected. By the way, that number actually is higher. CDC estimates that over 100 million people have gotten infected in the US alone. But what we have is very real, 537,000 dead. That's absolutely unthinkable, right? In our lifetime. Maybe, the Spanish flu took quite a few people around the world, but listen, we've never seen anything like this in our lifetime. Around the world, 121 million infected, 2.68 million dead. Tragic, complete tragic. And we're not done yet. I mean, most of us on this call probably already had vaccines, but many people haven't had it, and is the vaccine the magic bullet? Well, at least that's what the medical establishment is hoping, but we don't know. Now, I've had my own experience with tragedy because this has been very hard for people. We might know people, even our family members, who have, been taken by COVID or COVID-related issues, and it's been sad everywhere you turn. But personally, I have experienced tragedy within my life as well. So I want to just share a very quick story. The fall that woke up my life. I was 6 years old, playing on the rooftop of our 3-story house when I chased my brother to the edge of the building and I fell. I fell 3 stories onto the asphalt pavement and broke my neck, broke my spine, broke my head. From then on, I would spend a month in a coma first, and when I woke up, I was paralyzed. And so for 2 years, imagine, you couldn't run, walk, think, remember, go to the bathroom. I was kind of like a vegetable state and in 24/7 pain. So, I don't know. Sometimes, when I was going through that experience for 2 years, I thought it'd be much easier if I just died. And I understand why people want to legalize assisted suicide because, you just don't have a life. And I have known patients who went into theaters and never came out with the COVID, of course. And but anyway, that's how I spent 2 years. And everybody told me, my parents at least, that I'd never walk again. I'd be brain damaged. I'd be, in vegetative state. But my father never gave up on me. I was born into a family of long line of doctors for 38 generations. So about 1,300 years we've been doctors. And so I was fortunate. So very lucky. My father acupunctured me every day, practiced Chinese medicine. I drank nasty tasting herbs. And I questioned why, this was the big question. Why did it happen to me, right? And so my journey back to health really was an eye-opener for me. And I learned how to meditate. I learned Qigong. I learned martial arts. And I learned something really important, life purpose. So through this whole process of the COVID, I keep thinking, a year of just complete life change. I think it becomes even more important for us to think about, how short life can be, how easily we can be damaged, and the life can be, shortened by whatever tragedy there is besides illness. So ultimately, we have to be honest and ask ourselves, why did I come here? What is my purpose? You know, yes, we are parents, we are children to our parents, we take care of our patients, we do all the things that perhaps society expects us to do because, you know, we follow the tracks, if you will, that's been laid down for us. But truly, each one of us have a life purpose, you know, the gift that you brought to this world. I once met a centenarian who's 102 years old, and I've spent most of my career interviewing centenarians and wrote several best-selling books, one of which is called Secrets of Longevity. And I asked the centenarian, I said, so, you know, so what is this thing about life purpose? And I remember him saying that to me. He says, you know, I spent more than half of my life trying to discover what my life purpose is and finally discover the gift that I brought with me. And then I realized the rest of my life, I need to be spending giving the gift away. So that was so, you know, sort of eloquent the way he expressed it. That so this whole last year, I've been trying to help people, you know, really think through, like, what is your life purpose? I think that's really important. And so I discovered what my life purpose was. I wanted to be able to tell someone who's been told that they won't ever recover, that I've been there before. So yes, you know, I specialize in a lot of different conditions, but one of the conditions I treat is cancer. I treat a lot of cancer patients. And when, you know, I've spoken at the City of Hope, the metastatic breast cancer conference several times. And I want to tell these people that even though it's stage 4, it's metastatic, that, you know what, I've been there before, and that they can recover. You know, this is something that it's innate to them. So I've kind of scripted my life purpose. I don't mind sharing it with you. My life purpose is to use my knowledge, experience, and wisdom to facilitate positive changes in people's health and inspire meaningful transformation in people's lives. And it's really made a difference when I every day before I go to bed, I look at this and I ask myself, have I fulfilled my purpose? And I'm often pleased to reflect on that and said, yes, I've done what I can within the context of what I could do for the day, you know. So I would urge you to really look at that. What is your life purpose? I think coming out of pandemic, your life should not go back to what it was, because this has been a life-altering event. And I hope it's been a life-altering event for the better, for you. What do you want to change? What did it not work for you before the pandemic? Why do you want to keep doing that? Right? It doesn't make any sense. But that you want to go back to what didn't work for you. Keep what worked, but improve on what didn't work. Were you happy? Were you fulfilled? Why weren't you fulfilled? And again, all the surveys, all the studies show the happiest people are those who have a fulfilling life purpose. That's it, you know? And so this is why it's so important. Think about that, right? All right. So I'm going to quickly summarize 5 keys to health and longevity, right? What you eat, how you heal, what you do, where you are, who you are. And this is basically out of my Secrets of Longevity book. And because of the time limitations, I'm going to just address what you eat, okay? And but before I get there, you know, just a kind of a little bit of prelude to that. Let's see here, what do we have? So I'm actually dual trained in Western medicine and Chinese medicine. I went to medical school in China, Shanghai Medical University. And when I came back home to the States, I decided, and my father was also retiring. I said, you know what, this is what my family's been doing. I'm going to specialize in Chinese medicine. So this is what I've been doing ever since for close to 40 years now. And my brother and I have been in practice together. So it's nice to be able to, you know, practice with someone you grew up with and you can trust. And that's, I'm very honored and privileged for that. So, but let's just address nutrition, right?
It's connection problem. Dr. Mao, you're having a little connection problem. We can't hear you. We can see you, but we can't hear you. Not yet. We're gonna wait for him to reconnect better. Sometimes, as we all are used to COVID, it's the internet connection at times gets weak. So I hope you're all good while we're waiting for him. Thank you, Peggy. He should be with us in a moment. And his initial message was very beautiful. And, we will talk about this. You're back. Let's see if your voice is, the sound is better. Not yet, not yet. Not yet. Cool. Do you think you're... Let's see. I don't think you're not muted. No, you're not. You may want to leave the Zoom and connect again. Maybe that would be better. What do you think, Peggy? Oh, he did. Okay. So while we're waiting for him, we'll talk about this more, actually. This is where talking about our past and our future. And it's beautiful that he's talking about it. Think about it. And we all have been thinking about it. What do you want to change after the pandemic? What has worked? What we have changed has worked. And what hasn't worked? And what are you going to do different? Peggy was the one who brought to my attention recently that there is something called COVID-10, COVID-15, and COVID-20. Some of you know what that means. Then the numbers are reflection of he's back, I think. A reflection of how much weight each one of us might have gained, except I think Manny. And by the way, Manny, Dr. Mao does believe in intermittent fasting.
All right. So
yeah,
okay,
you're back.
I'm back.
Let's bring you back to the screen. Peggy, dear.
Okay.
I'm here.
He's not on the screen yet.
Hold on, let me repin him.
Dr. Mao, thank you for your patience.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Oh, perfect. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I apologize. Anyway, of course I'm home and all my kids are on the internet. I told them, like, listen, guys, I'm doing something. Please don't knock me off. There's, we can send these beautiful pictures from Mars, but we can't actually connect with each other, which is kind of weird. So I wanted to just, so as I was saying, I went to China. I'm dual trained in Chinese medicine, Western medicine, but I decided to just specialize in Chinese medicine. And so for me, it's very much congruent with what I do in my life purpose. So I want to jump into nutrition because it's something that is so critical, right? We all know that what happened during COVID was that people who were inflamed, right, caught COVID and had even more inflammation. So it was actually the healthier you are, the faster you recovered, and the more unhealthy you are, the worse worse chance of recovery. And so we know by now that COVID caused this incredible inflammatory process, the cytokine storm that caused blood clots that basically went into the lungs and heart and killed people. And that's basically what happened. So in a nutshell. So inflammation, and inflammation happens to also govern aging. So we all know now with science that inflammation is one of the key to uh, enjoying optimum function and long life. So this is one of the reasons why I really emphasize nutrition as a first line of defense. And so for all of us coming out of this, one thing we learn from is that we have to make sure our diet isn't contributing to inflammation. So I'll give you some top foods that are pro-inflammatory foods. Okay, the first one we have to think about is foreign protein. So dairy. So cow dairy with casein and whey, very large proteins. It's foreign to the human body. The body will view it as foreign and therefore create an inflammatory reaction to it. This is why so many people react to dairy products. I mean, you literally, the difference I see in patients, they come in, they've got, let's say, arthritic inflammation, they got pain. And all I do is I said, okay, change nothing, but just remove dairy. And they come back the next week, they go, Doc, I can't believe it. My joints are 50% less, have less pain and less stiffness and less swelling. Well, so the trick here is, of course, is removing anything that's foreign or viewed as foreign to your body can reduce your inflammatory response. So that's the key. So removing cow dairy is the first step. Now, you don't have to stop enjoying dairy if you like dairy. Go for the goats and sheep's dairy. So you got goat cheese, goat milk, goat yogurt, sheep's milk, sheep's cheese. And there's a very tasty cheese called manchego, which is a combo of sheep goat milk. And it absolutely does nothing as far as inflammation to your body. And it has also almost no lactose. That's another thing, is a lot of people don't realize dairy has a lot of sugar. One glass of milk has 12 grams of sugar. And so if you got kids drinking 3, 4 glasses of cow milk, they're taking in a lot of sugar. So lactose, and now 70% of the world population is lactose intolerant. So that includes the Chinese like myself, Asians, and believe it or not, majority of the Jewish population are lactose intolerant too. But I happen to have these patients who come in and they said, oh yeah, you know what? Every time I eat ice cream or I eat cheese or dairy, my stomach hurts. And I got to go to the bathroom. I got diarrhea. I said, well, why don't you stop? Well, I can't. I really love it. Well, these people are just torturing themselves. There's nothing more I can do. But if you remove cow dairy from your diet, but instead go with goats and sheep's, you'll be fine. You get plenty of calcium. You can get calcium from vegetables, so don't worry about missing the calcium. Okay, so leafy greens, beans, legumes all have calcium. Okay, that's the first step. Second thing to remove is gluten. And 25% of the population, believe it or not, have gluten sensitivity. And then there's about 10% that have actually even more sensitivity, maybe even intolerance, right? And so removing that can make a huge difference. So gluten exists in wheat, barley, and rye. So all the other grains are perfectly fine. They're gluten-free. The third item is what we call the nightshades. Okay, so nightshade plants contain solanine, which is an alkaloid that causes inflammation. So what you're looking at here is tomatoes, potatoes, eggplants, and peppers. And so minimizing them, you may not have to get rid of them completely, but just minimizing them. Now you ask me like, wow, tomatoes are so good. I don't want to, not eat them. Interesting, what I discover is that heirloom tomatoes contain a lot less solanine and therefore don't have the same reaction. So heirloom. So go with heirloom if you can have tomatoes. Okay. Sweet potatoes, fine, by the way. Oh, I'm talking about white potatoes. And then you have the other suspects. You've got alcohol, which we know interferes with the body's healing response, plus it's a carcinogen. So drink moderately. Just be careful. Don't overdo it. 1 to 2 drinks, fine, but don't drink until you black out or something like that. Coffee, very acidic. You'd rather drink tea, green tea, which has a lot of antioxidants like polyphenols. Okay, so those are sort of what we call the pro-inflammatory. But so that along with processed refined foods, which are not good. And another thing you have to remember is processed oil is very inflammatory, because processed oil usually has omega 6 and 9s, which are not like omega 3. Omega 3 is actually anti-inflammatory, but high amounts of omega 6, which exist in a lot of the vegetable oils, are actually inflammatory. So you actually want to go more towards nut oils, avocado oil, for example, rice bran oil, grapeseed oil. So all those are much better than the actual vegetable oil that's common. So now we're talking about anti-inflammatory diet. So anti-inflammatory diet consists of course, fruits and vegetables, whole grains, beans and legumes, and deep sea fish. Well, deep sea fish because of the omega-3 fatty acids, but actually sardines, which is not deep sea fish, has virtually no mercury, and yet has high levels of omega-3 fatty acids. Okay, so that's something that you definitely want to emphasize. And the nuts and seeds all have high omega-3s. For example, flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, walnut, as example. Anti-inflammatory fruits, papaya, pineapple, cherries, grapes, kiwi are all natural anti-inflammatories. So go for it. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and cabbage has sulforaphanes in them. They also block inflammatory proteins, so excellent for you, right? So these are just some of the examples. I mean, just and so really reduce the amount of sugar. Sugar can cause inflammation in high amounts, so you want to reduce your sugar intake, and at the same time, all the things that we talked about. And there's one thing that has a lot of omega-3 fatty acids that I haven't talked about, and you might be surprised. This particular food has more omega-3 fatty acids per ounce compared to salmon. Any guess? No, maybe
let
not.
me know, just a moment. Let me unmute all of them. So let's see if anyone.
Yeah.
Any guess, guys? Debbie, say it again.
Avocado.
Yeah. So the question is, do you know which food has more omega-3 fatty acids per ounce compared to salmon, as example, deep sea fish?
Cod liver?
Well, no, but it's pretty good. You guys are getting the right track. But believe it or not, grass-fed beef have more omega-3 fatty acids, because the grass itself is where the omega-3 fatty acids coming from. Okay, the fish by itself does not have omega-3 fatty acids, because farm-raised fish does not contain any of this good stuff. They have to swim in the ocean and eat the seaweed, the plankton, the algae and all that. That's where the omega-3 fatty acids is, right? So it depends on what the animal or the fish eats. So this is why, the way that our ancestors grew up, right? They did not have any of this inflammation, or they had very little, because they ate foods that were unprocessed and they were direct from, the animal ate the grass and you ate the animal, and the animals were, free range and grass grazing and whatever it is. And we didn't farm fish. We basically caught the fish. So it was just swimming and eating out of the ocean. So again, think about it when you are eating, right? And in recent years, I favored plant-based diet because when I wrote my book, Live Long, Live Strong, an integrative approach to cancer care, I realized all this research and literature show that a plant-based diet drastically lower your risk for cancer, and an animal-based diet increased it. And so I did an experiment on myself 3 years ago. I went on a vegan diet for 3 months. And I measured my blood before and after. And guess what happened? In 3 months' time, I didn't think I was that much overweight, but apparently I was. I lost 20 pounds. My cholesterol dropped by 100 points. My blood sugar, I was running a little pre-diabetes, maybe 115 on average, fasting, dropped it down to 90. My A1C went from 6 down to 5.5. So, and my belly fat went away. And then my brain woke up and I had more energy. Then I realized, besides the fact that I was lowering my risk for cancer and inflammation, all my joints didn't hurt anymore, but I was actually giving myself more energy, because most of our energy is going to digest and support our brain activities. And if I wasn't spending as much energy digesting, I could free them up for my brain and my workouts and whatever else I was doing. So anyway, so these are kind of things that you want to really start thinking about. I mean, most of you on this call we're probably the same age, right? I'm telling you, I feel 20, 30 years younger. And when I tell my wife this, and I tell her all the things I want to do, she's like shaking her head going, oh my God, what's happened to you? I feel young again. And this is all without taking growth hormone or testosterone. I guarantee you, I feel great. So again, this is something you think about. We hit 50, bodies start to break down, functional breakdown. Bring your function back up, all right? And once your function's back up to optimum, you can keep it there forever. My dad's 104 years old. He, walked 12,000 steps. He was still writing books and all that. I can see firsthand the value of maintaining healthy function so that you can live for a long time and be healthy, and be productive. And by the way, more time to fulfill your life purpose. And that's it, really.
Let's have everybody unmute. See, I know you gave us the opportunity to ask question. Now, one thing I remember last time we were talking about it, it's the intermittent fasting. You said you were doing that as well. Are you continuing that?
Yes, I still do my intermittent fast. Yes. So what happened is I actually eat my breakfast at about 10, 11, and I eat my last meal at 7 p.m. So, and really, ultimately, what the intermittent fasting is doing for you is really decreasing your insulin resistance. That's number one, very important, because insulin resistance causes fat deposit in the belly and increase blood sugar, at the same time increase inflammatory process. So you get rid of that inflammatory process and sensitize yourselves to insulin again. That's number one, very important. And it does also help lower cholesterol and just frees up a lot of energy for you. I highly recommend it. I've been a beneficiary of it for quite some time, and try it. I mean, if you can't wait, until 10, 11 to eat your breakfast, well, maybe push it back to 9, for example, and then try to cut off your dinner at 7:30 so that you have this 14, 16-hour fast if you can.
Peggy, would you like to bring everybody on the screen to see if anyone has any question?
Right there.
Now, another question I have, Dr. Mao, regarding bringing function back in terms of physical activity. Any short recommendation?
Well, so I spent 25 years interviewing centenarians around the world, and I've never met a centenarian who did not walk 1 to 2 hours a day. If you're talking about exercise, walking is by far the best exercise ever. Now, of course, listen, going to the gym, doing weights, Pilates, Tai Chi, yoga, and all that's great, fantastic. But in addition to all of that, please walk an hour a day if you can.
One question is regarding memory. There's all this to add to Alzheimer's, to add to dementia that we see our elderly experience. Is this inflammation anything to do to minimize the risk?
Well, if you understand about aging of the brain, it's all inflammation because the amyloid plaque, right, that builds up in the brain, it's an inflammatory process that deposits the amyloid. And so if you want to have a good functioning brain, you want to reduce inflammation. Lots of omega-3 fatty acids, a lot of antioxidants. Blueberry tops the list of protecting brain from decline. That's number one. Lots of studies on that. Number two, exercise. You got to get oxygen and blood flow to the brain. Okay, so it's very important. Number three, stop any PPIs. Any acid blocker you're taking, stop taking them because they prevent you from absorbing calcium, magnesium, and other minerals that are very critical for your brain. And of course, you got to address your acid reflux, of course. And then the other thing is B vitamins. So I take a B vitamin every day. We formulate ourselves called Super B. It's got just enough niacin in there to dilate the blood vessels, along with B12, B6, and all the other beneficial B vitamins that helps to dilate the blood vessel in the brain, and it really gives me energy and brain power. So something you guys should definitely look at as you get older. So
now your B vitamins, sometimes they talk about, depending on culture, absorption is a concern. Do you do sublingual? Do you do the herbal? What type of vitamin?
So our Super B formula is something we formulate ourselves, and it's methylated B. So even for people with MTHFR mutation who needs a methylated form of B vitamins to absorb it, this is the right one to take. And so the B vitamins, now it's water soluble. So what happens is you're going to, if you take excessive amounts, not a problem. You just pee it out.
Okay. There was a question how they can get the vitamins. They need to call your office, I would assume, right?
Actually, we have it on our website called taostar.com. That's TAO star.com. So you can get it on that website.
There was a question about stevia. Do you know what that is?
Yes, stevia, monk fruit are natural sweeteners, have 0 calories, and they're perfectly fine to use, because again, they don't spike your blood sugar unlike all the other ones.
And now the big one being marketed heavily, alkaline water.
Well, a lot of controversy. Alkaline water, it's basically mineralized, so you got a little more magnesium, other minerals in there to alkalize it. So in that case, it's perfectly fine. But you could really alkalize your body just by taking baking soda, right? And eating a plant-based diet. So that's how you alkalize.
How about a substitution for milk as oat milk or almond milk?
Yes, almond milk, hemp milk. I think hemp milk is one of the best milk you can do because it's high in omega-3 fatty acids. So why not just get it from hemp? And it won't make you high. Don't worry, I promise. It'll lubricate your bowels. It's great, and it tastes great. So. So I have to wrap in about a minute. Yes, I do. I do.
Any other questions?
They're calling me.
Yeah. I have one. Concerning COVID, if we get it, and there are some recommended doses of different types of vitamins to help prevent us from being sick long, vitamin C, melatonin, D3. They were talking about ivermectin. What do you think about that, doctor?
I think they are viable. The vitamin C zinc combo are good. NAD, for example, as a preventative. Ivermectin has been shown to be effective. That's an anti-parasite drug, and but you know what? I mean, we actually use Chinese herbs because China has been treating COVID successfully. We treated over 200 COVID cases online. We don't let them come into the office because we have to protect our staff and other patients. But it's been very effective. Every one of our patients have recovered from the COVID, and so I in some way I'm not as concerned about it just because we have Chinese medicine to deal with it. But so prevention wise, we have a formula called immunity, that you can also find at Dowstar that actually helps to helps people as a prevention. So, but all the things that you talked about, the vitamin C, the zinc, the NAD, and ivermectin, all those are fabulous. They do work. They do help. So, yeah. All right, guys. I
Right.
have to get back to
Thank
my
you.
other event.
I want
I'm
to
so
thank
sorry.
you very much.
Yes.
Precious moments.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Now, let's see. Dr. Martin Mendelsohn is from Spear. He's also a licensed coach. He influenced me, and it has been a big influence in terms of how I've influenced my staff in the office and my patients, that he has indicated in life, we need to find a friend, a partner, and commit ourselves to a certain change of lifestyle and promise that person or promise each other that we will do that. And what I did, I went back to my old trainer whom I had joined during Mao wellness moments, and he gave me really balance and health. And his name is Ron, and I tracked him down. I found him, and he was very surprised. I said, "Look, during the week I can't get to you." He does his training from his house, or he goes to people's house now because all the gyms are closed. And I said, I'll come Saturday mornings to your house in Woodland Hills, and I'll exercise with you. I'll do my 1 hour core exercise, which is truly the best for dentists. And if you don't mind, I'm gonna have it live.
Oh.
So others can join as they wish
Oh, fun.
on a Saturday morning, my friends, and do it with me.
Nice.
So, and this is a unique character. He's one of those passionate individuals with exercise. As you can see, he has 19 Guinness World Records.
Oh.
He's writing a book on it. He's one of those, he's
Great.
like a dentist. You know, when we do dentistry, we come out, we have a smile on our face. And some people say, isn't this hard work? But, you know, we enjoy it, he enjoys it. So we're gonna do this every Saturday. And then beyond this, you know, he is closer to you guys than me. But because of this, I've created my mini gym, a copy of his gym in my backyard. So I'm gonna use him as my coach and get me back to exercise while a change of diet and exercise. So I want you guys to join me, as many you can promise me to join me every Saturday morning at 8 a.m.